Nari McDiarmid with you, and it's great to be speaking with Graeme Drew, Managing Director of AusQuest Limited. And Graeme, we're speaking ahead of Mining News Select in Sydney. What would you like investors to understand about AusQuest?
Thanks for the introduction. Look, the most important aspect about AusQuest at the moment is that just over a year ago, we announced a discovery of a large-scale porphyry copper deposit in Peru, which got the market fairly excited and got us excited. So if we're excited, then we can excite the market. We've done some drilling since then, and it continues to grow. So it's still in its early days, maybe, but we think it's a significant discovery, at least for a company the size of AusQuest, and maybe even bigger. We're in the process of evaluating that prospect at the moment. We're well financed. We raised $10 million at the end of last year, and we're about to restart drilling. We did some drilling over the Christmas New Year period, and we were announcing those results, and we still have some more to come in, but we'll be restarting our program in the next few weeks. So Cangallo, which is the name of the project, is our main focus, and that's what's caused a lot of interest in the company. For some background on the company itself, our strategy has always been to look for provincial scale type deposits, which would be of interest to major companies. So our strategy was trying to find something large, often in joint venture with a major company that we would retain a 20 or 30% interest in at the development stage. So we thought that'd be worth quite a lot of money, given that majors need a resource maybe of worth $2, $3, $4, $5 billion. So that's what our target's always been. We have a strong technical team, so we're project generators, and we have a small but effective board. So we tend to keep our money going into the ground. That's what we like. We like drilling. We develop concepts and we test them. So that's sort of our modus operandi that we've been on since listing. We have 1.6 billion shares on issue. We have a market cap somewhere between 80 and 100 million, or 120 million actually it went up to. And the directors have significant skin in the game. So directors roughly have 90% of the company. So we're committed as well to the success of the company. They're the basic things that I think, and with a focus more on Kanga, which is our current lead project, if you like.
Graeme, if we could take a closer look at your lead project, what for you are the features of Cangallo?
Primarily, its location is excellent. It's sitting. I don't think there's any other porphyry copper deposits that are sitting as close to the coast as we are. We're within 8 kilometres. So, and we're also close to other infrastructure, power lines, people, if you like. We're not too close to people, but we think we can get our workforce from nearby. There's no competing land use, so our location is a real plus. That affects grades that you might be able to mine, because your cost structure based on where we are, we think will be much lower than similar deposits that occur higher up in the Andes. So Cangallo at the moment, it's a large scale copper discovery. There is some gold with it, but that we'll leave that till later. It currently measures something like 1,500 meters long by 250 to 500 meters wide, and it's continuous in depth down to the depth of drilling, which is roughly 350 to 400 meters. So it's a large scale system. So we've got scale, and scale is important, especially if you're into lower grade type deposits where you're looking at bulk tonnages. So we know we've got some scale. We're now looking to see whether we can get some better grades, if you like. But our copper grades so far are comparable with other deposits in the region. So we're more than confident that we have the goods that can lead to a potential development. The copper starts from surface, so it's open cuttable. We don't have to go down 100, 200 meters before we get into the copper bearing rocks. It's very shallow, so potentially open cuttable. A lot of the copper in the top 200, 250, maybe even 300 meters is oxide copper. And the beauty of oxide copper is that it can be or should be leachable. We have done some metallurgical tests and we haven't seen any red flags yet, but we probably haven't done enough at this point in time. But the initial test work was encouraging. So it is leachable, and if it's leachable, then your cost of processing is much lower. So we think we've got a low cost structure, both in capital and in operating, and the grades that we're running with at the moment are comparable with others. So we think that's a doable scenario. This was a greenfields discovery, which means there was no prior drill holes or data in this area. So we are on a fairly steep learning curve as we go. As we drill, the more and more we drill, the bigger it gets, and the more we understand. So some of that takes a little bit of time, but it's going according to plan at the moment, and we hope to be a lot further down the track over the next 6 to 12 months. So it's a pretty exciting time for our shareholders.
Graeme, I note that elsewhere in your portfolio, you've got an alliance with South32 over 4 projects in Australia. So, what is your focus going to be in the next 6 to 12 months?
Well, I think our focus will remain on Cangallo. And one thing I omitted to say was that we own Cangallo 100%. So it's 100% owned by AusQuest. And that's a longer story for another day, but it's 100% owned, and the work under the strategic alliance with South32 is basically focused on our Australian projects. We've been, I won't go into the details of the alliance. We've released that data before, so people can read that up or come and ask us if they want. But we're currently in our 10th year under this alliance, which in itself is quite an accomplishment for a junior company. But it should tell you something about the way we operate and the types of targets, resources that we are searching for. So it has to be something that a major company would be able to develop. So that puts us into certain geological environments that others may not particularly go and look at, because it's potentially has a bit of a longer term time frame to it. So, but when you do find it, well, that's going to make a huge difference. So we'll be drilling some of those projects in Australia over the next 6 to 12 months. So and all funded by South32. So essentially, shareholders have a free option and an independent endorsement of our technical abilities or capacity, if you like. So they've been a fantastic partner for us, both financially, which is obvious because if they pay for it, that's great for a junior, but also technically in the advice and input they've had to the project. So we're keen to keep that alliance going at least as for the foreseeable future. I think we've got it out to the end of 2027. So by that time it'll be 11 years, which is pretty unusual in this game. So we're pretty proud of that. So.
Well, looking a little further into the future, Graeme, what will success look like for AusQuest? What are you hoping to achieve?
Well, our key focus is on Cangallo. We think there's a potential development there, which and if it is a development, then it's certainly going to be, it's not going to be worth $100 million. It's going to be worth $1 billion plus or whatever it is, because that's typical of those types of deposits in Peru. So whether we've got that 100% or partly with others, that's something that will happen in the future. But we also have 2 equally exciting projects within 10, 20 kilometres of Kanga, which we also plan to evaluate over the coming 6 to 12 months, if you like. So it'll be initial drilling, but they are pretty exciting projects. So we think in the longer term we could have a province of porphyry copper and or IOCG type deposits all under our control, because at the moment they're all 100% owned by AusQuest. So hopefully that leads to better share price, which is the ultimate aim of all companies, a higher market capitalization than we have today. So, and we think there's a real probability of that happening. So we're quite excited for the future. And as I said, the free steak knives come with what we're doing in Australia, and and any one of those drill holes, which we'll be completing in the next 6 to 12 months, makes a discovery, then we're revalued again. So there's a lot to look forward to, and hopefully more success for our shareholders.
Well, Graeme, thank you so much for taking the time to speak today. I'll see you in Sydney.
Okay, look forward to it.